Hi crafty friends, welcome to the Crafty Seas. Today we'll be showing you how to make these beautiful springtime home decor hanging pieces, and all you'll need is some napkins. Yep, you heard me right, napkins. So stay tuned and we'll be showing you how you can make these beautiful hanging Easter egg decorations. So let's get crafting. So grab your wooden Easter egg shapes and some white paint. You can also use gesso if you have some of that. And the first step is to paint up your shapes. And you want to get a really good white base on for the napkins to go on top, because when you put the napkins on, they can go translucent and your image can get lost in the background if you don't have a nice bright white background to help that image pop. So grab your paintbrush and apply that coat, and you might need 1 or 2 coats. Next up, we're going to grab our napkins, and we got these napkins from Asda in the George section for £1, and they're a beautiful springtime bunny design. And you're going to have to separate your napkin, and it may be 3-ply or 2-ply. You can check your packet, and you're just carefully from the corner going to peel those layers apart. And this is quite an easy process, but if you are struggling, you could try using a piece of tape to lift the layers, or steam them gently to separate the layers until you're left with 1-ply and it's nice and thin and translucent. And to prepare our napkin, because it's all creased, we think it's a great idea to give it a quick iron. And you can use any iron for this, and a piece of parchment paper or greaseproof paper, baking paper, or a heatproof mat. Lay that on top and just gently iron out those creases in your napkin. And this may take a few minutes just to get those deep lines out, but it's definitely worth it in the end. And here we're using a water brush to cut out our image from the napkin. It's not necessary for this project as we'll be covering the entire shape with the napkin, but if you were just using the bunny image on its own on a different background, using a water pen instead of scissors to cut out your image gives it a nice feathered edge and prevents those hard edges on your project. As you can see, if you tear it apart, it gives it a nice feathered edge and makes your blending a little bit softer. So once you've selected the image that you want from your napkin, just check that it's going to fit nicely, and we're going to now glue onto the shape. Now, we didn't have any Mod Podge in our stash, which is the recommended glue for napkins, but don't worry, if you don't have Mod Podge like us, you can just use some PVA glue or cheap school glue from the pound shop and mix that in with a little bit of water. And you don't want your glue to be too runny, just a nice thinnish consistency like here. And we're going to apply that all over our Easter egg shape, getting a nice and even coverage. And this is project's part of the Pink Bubble Cards Alphabet Challenge hosted by the lovely Hilary, and there's lots of crafters taking part, so make sure to check out our playlist and the hashtag to get more ideas on how you can use napkins in your crafting. So once you've got the glue on, you're going to carefully apply your napkin, trying not to get it too creased, but don't worry, a top tip is if you use a Polly Pocket or page protector or piece of plastic, you can put that over the top of your image and gently push out any of those air bubbles or creases and wrinkles in your image. Just work from the centre out. And as you can see, this gives a much smoother finish to your project. So we'll just repeat the same process again, apply a nice layer of glue to our blank, and then grab our napkin, line that up and gently press it on. Take our Polly Pocket or piece of plastic, place that over the top and just gently work from the middle out to push out any wrinkles, air bubbles or unevenness from your design. And once you're happy with your project, you can set it aside to dry. And once it's nice and dry, we're going to remove all those excess pieces of napkins using a piece of sandpaper or a nail file. And you just rub the nail file against the edge of your wood piece and the napkin comes off cleanly and gives a very nice edge. So we're just going to continue doing this to remove all the spare pieces of napkin and tidy up our edges, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So as you can see, our napkins have still got a few wrinkles in them from the glue. So before we seal them, we're going to grab the iron again and our baking paper and just give it a quick iron over on a cool setting just to smooth out any of those wrinkles. And this is a great tip to get a smoother finish on your decoupage projects. As you can see, that's a lot better. Now we're going to take some wooden balls and we're going to decoupage these with napkins as well. So again, we want that white base. So we're just using some white spray paint here. It's a bit easier to use the spray paint than a paintbrush to apply to the balls. And a top tip for painting balls, if you put them on a large barbecue skewer or cocktail stick, it means you can get them from a full 360 degrees. And whilst the balls are drying, we are going to prepare some floral images to decoupage on top. And again, we're just cutting out the images that we would like to use using the water brush. Then we're going to apply our glue to our bead and we're going to decoupage it with some of the florals from the same napkin. And it's a little bit tricky decoupaging round shapes, but if you just take your time and use little bits of the napkin, you should manage it. So we'll just gently tap the image round the ball and then seal it over with another layer of glue. And we'll set that aside to dry and move on to the next step of the project. We've grabbed our crocodile punch and some pretty pink eyelets just to decorate the hanging piece. So we've punched the hole and put the eyelet in, and we're just going to close that up using the crocodile. And here we're using a small 1/18 of an inch eyelet in this pretty dusky pink. And it just adds an extra touch to your hanging decoration and makes them that little bit more durable. So now we're happy with the design and we've got our eyelet in place. We're going to seal our project using this Sparkle and Shine semi-gloss glitter sealant from Crafter's Companion. If you don't have this, you can also just put another layer of Mod Podge on top or your glue mix. We've decided to go with this spray sealant because it has a beautiful, subtle sparkle sheen. And the last thing to do is to assemble our hanging element. So we've grabbed some ribbon and a lovely made for you little charm and our decoupaged beads. And we simply are going to thread the ribbon through the eyelet, and you can use a pokey tool or a needle if you find this difficult. It can be a little bit tricky. So we're just going to thread the ribbon through and put both ends together and thread these two ends through our decoupaged bead. And this is a great way to make your hanging element instead of just tying it, because this makes an adjustable loop, so you can make the loop larger or smaller and it can hold your hanging decoration nice and securely onto whatever you're hanging it from. And we think this just makes a nice pretty addition with the matching decoupaged bead. So there you have it. Here are our two decoupaged napkin Easter decorations, and here are a few more that we've made using some napkins from our stash. So we used this beautiful bird napkin and we used a glass bead on that one. Here's the bunny image, and here we added some gems and some glossy highlights. This time, as you can see, it gives a faux resin effect. And this one again, we used glossy accents to seal it. And we've used a selection of Easter themed napkins, different beads and ribbons. And this one's a really pretty bird with the pink ribbon, and we've used a silver bead here as a slider. And again, another cute bunny that you saw us making with the decoupaged bead. And you can also add other things from your crafty stash. Here we've added some beautiful 3D flowers to this bird image and a beautiful bead. And this one here with the poppy napkin, we've added some paper flowers and 2 different dangle beads. And this just adds another element to your decoration, and it's a great way to use up maybe some florals that you have in your stash. Like here, we've attached some paper flowers and some twine. And I think this is just a super sweet springtime craft, and it's not too difficult to do. All you'll need is some napkins, some glue, some ribbon, and if you want, you can seal it with glitter spray, or like we've done here for the shiny one, glossy accents. What do you think? Do you have a favourite design? Let us know in the comment section down below. We absolutely love to hear from you, and let us know what you've been crafting. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and this has given you some ideas on how to use up some napkins and some pretty spring decor that you might like to make. A huge thank you for watching today. Please like, subscribe, and if you ring that bell, you'll be notified the next time we make a video. And please check out Hilary at Pink Bubble Cards channel for more details on the alphabet challenge. And you can follow along using the hashtag and check out our playlist to see all the other makes we've made for this challenge. Until next time, thanks for watching and happy crafting!